Maybe. Oh boy.
We're recording.
Hi,
Hi,
Susan,
Lisa.
and welcome to the End of Life Journey Beyond the Sands of Time. My name is Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, and I'm a bereavement specialist. Hey, Susan, how are you today?
Hi, Lisa. I know we are having a few internet problems today. It's a very windy day here on Long Island, so we'll just play this by ear today. My name's Susan Capurso, End of Life Doula, legacy specialist and author. So nice for everybody to join in today. We're going to talk about a little bit lighter subject. It really is, but it's just as important as a lot of the other topics that you and I discussed, Lisa, right? So we're talking about bucket lists today. And bucket lists are really a really important part of our lives. And we remember most of the milestones, right? The important events in our lives that have been the most memorable and important during the course of our lives. I'm talking about even things that happened when we were 5 and 10 years old. So there are some things in life, though, that we never get a chance to do. So, for example, some of these things carry with us through our entire lives. Okay, like I'm going to give you an example: Italy. Okay, I always wanted to go to Italy. Yeah, it's on my bucket list. Okay, but that unfortunately we never get to do all the things in our mind that are on that bucket list, right? So we might get there over the course of time, we may never get there. But at the end of our lives, something funny happens because now a person starts to review and reflect on all the things that they did right during their lives and that they didn't do right, and also on the things that they did and didn't do. And this is really important because it almost becomes like a little bit of a regret.
Yep.
I guess you can call it a regret, right? So whether you're watching the video today for you or for another person in your life, just remember that these things are really important for us all, whether you're healthy or at the end of your life, to come full circle. And it gives a person a sense of buttoning things up, right? And fulfillment and closure of sorts. So if you have an opportunity to be there for another person during this last milestone, it's a rare and golden opportunity. It really is to help them to do it right. So Italy may not be a practical thing to check off of their list now. However, you have to think outside of the box. So a virtual trip through Italy, which I have done on an Oculus, it might be the way to go, or a documentary on YouTube, on a big screen TV is beautiful. And sometimes it's even a little bit more than being there itself. The point is, they've lived a full life here on planet Earth, and their end time is near. And so these things are important and to get them right. There are ways to tweak even the most difficult request. So talk about a list, make the list, even if it's only 3 things. Get out the pad and paper and make the list. Work on them sooner versus later, and because that's when they're going to get the most fulfillment and enjoyment out of it. So today, Lisa and I are going to talk about several suggestions and ideas that we can recommend to get their thoughts and their ideas stirring. Okay, because this is what you need to do in the conversation before. It's an important project for them and for anyone that's involved, which could mean immediate family, friends. You're making memories here, and this is really important. So just remember to take your time with it, have fun with it, and really help them make it the best that it can be. And I know, Lisa, you have a story you want to start us out with about something that was on your husband's bucket list, right?
Sure. I love to share personal stories. I think that everybody needs to understand that not only are we professionals, but we have been through a lot, both of us, with loss and all. And so my husband was very sick. I mean, pancreatic cancer just took a toll on him for 15 months. And at the end, there were things that we still wanted to do. I mean, certainly lots of things. But a month before he died, we decided to go to Rhode Island. Now, you can make a lot of provisions and ask for a lot of things that, need to be done so that that person is comfortable. We love it there, and we hadn't been there in a very long time. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful. And it was December. So the houses are all beautifully decorated with the holidays and all. And so I chose, and we talked about it, and he said, he'd do the best he could. I knew, as I said, he wasn't in the best health. But so the place that I rented was an inn, a bed and breakfast kind of inn. And I let them know that, he was not feeling well, that he had an illness, that was life threatening, etc. And so they made all kinds of provisions for us. We were able to get food in, we were able to, just get lots of things that we needed. They made it really good for us. And when he was at the best time that he could, we would walk around, and we were able to go, and obviously I drove and all, but we were able to go to a few of those homes, and I saw, his enjoyment of them the best he could. He stayed in when he had to stay in, and a lot of it is compromising. Don't feel you have to do everything. Don't feel it has to be a certain way. You have to be very flexible, so that, because this really is about the person, and it's about the memories that, you can share and what it means to that person. And so, when I look at the pictures, he didn't look well, and I could see that, but what we were doing was special. And whatever I needed to do to make it happen, I did.
Well, look
So
at
I
how it
remember that.
affected you. Look at how it affected you,
Yeah,
right? So it's not only for the person
absolutely.
that will be passing, but it's for those left behind,
That's right.
right? It's the memory and the enjoyment and the love that you're creating,
That's right.
with one another.
That's
So
right.
that's a beautiful thing. Now, when we think bucket list, sometimes we think it's just all about travel and someplace that you haven't been to. That's not the case. That's not the case. So in my book, Coming Full Circle, there's actually a chapter about bucket lists. And I talk about tons of things. It could be something as simple as they've always wanted to have a portrait painted of them and hung over the fireplace. That really you can put that on a bucket list,
Yes.
right? It's something you never had an opportunity to do. And there's all kinds of things, right, Lisa? I
Yeah, a
mean,
lot of
there's
visiting.
classes.
A lot of visiting people, seeing people we haven't seen maybe in a really long time, get-togethers. Yeah, there's so many things, but the thing is, you really have to understand what means something to that person, and
Right.
really communicate with each other, about that. And I do want to say one more thing about this, because I have a book, and it's hard to see it through these camera things, but I have a book called The Bucket List. There it is. It's there. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm not dying yet, but I could tomorrow, because we never know what's going to happen in our lives. And it's wonderful because you can put things down. They can be anything. There's categories. You can put a trip down. You could put a painting down, like you said. You could put a book down. You could put, seeing people. I mean, there's whatever categories you want to make. And then after you make up your outline, then as you do it, you actually have a page that you can describe what you did and what happened. So now you have this
That's neat.
wonderful book that has everything in it that you wanted to do. And, for me right now with my significant other, I mean, I keep saying to him, I really want to go here. I really want to see this, like visiting my aunt and uncle in Colorado Springs. They're 92 and 95, and I hadn't seen them in a long time. And I said to him, I want them to meet you. And, I don't know how they're going to be when we get there, but just to hang out with them. And it turned out we had the best 3 days. It really rejuvenated them. They had a great time with us. And it was very memorable and really special. And I'm so glad we did it.
The importance really of this conversation is to really put things in writing. Make a list, and you don't have to be nearing the end of life. Again, start today and make yourself a list of 30 things that you've just always wanted to do. And it can be as big as little. It could be, taking a cruise. It could be going fishing over on the North Shore and the salt water, taking a fishing excursion, playing golf because you've never played on a professional golf what are they called? Greens, right?
Yes, greens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the greens.
Yes.
I've never done that. It's not on my bucket list,
Mine
but
neither.
it could be. It could be on somebody's
Sure.
bucket list.
Sure.
Learning a language, maybe making a bowl. Something as simple as finding a pottery place in the area and, making your own bowl. It sounds silly, or painting a wine
Oh
glass,
yeah, the
or
wine and sip
sipping.
thing is a big thing. That's on my list. I would love to
I
take a
know.
handful of women to that. A handful of
Yeah, it's a
women.
lot of fun. I've done that twice.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So it may seem so little and insignificant to you, but if it's to the person, if it's something that they've wanted to do for years and years and years and never got a chance to do, oh, it'll mean so much,
It will.
right? It'll
It
mean
will.
so much.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I have all kinds of things on this list, and of course I didn't memorize them, but there could be, maybe you've never donated. Maybe you've never given to a charity, and you feel bad that you haven't done that in life, or you haven't had a chance to volunteer. Investigate, seek things out, ask questions, make phone calls. There's a place here on Long Island, but I do believe that they're national as well, and they're called Twilight Wish.
Hmm.
So it's not like the
Make a wish.
Wish for
Mhm. Yeah, children.
the children. Yeah, this one is for seniors, or
Wow.
really, he said, over people over 50.
Hmm.
And that you don't have to be at the end of your life. Of course you can be, but they create wishes. They
Wow.
fulfill bucket list um, bullets. So, you can find these places, and whatever, if that wish is really big, they'll create it for you.
Wow.
They'll create it and take you soup to nuts to create that wish, that you've always had.
Hmm.
But there's just, I mean, the list can go on. Some things maybe are not doable. Flying on a private jet, well, that sounds really nice, but
Yeah.
that might not be doable,
Yes.
in
Yes.
that situation. But talk about things, because everybody, it's really communication now at this point, because we all have a couple things that we wish that we've done.
Sure.
Right? I know you probably have a couple, Lisa. I have a few. If I sat with a pad and pen today, I could come up with a bunch of them,
Yes. There are
you
lots of
know?
places I love to travel, and Israel
Mm,
is one of the places. And even though my significant other's not interested in going to Israel, I would like to get a group together and go and figure out how to do
yeah.
this. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not that difficult, planning and arranging, and it takes a little thought and sometimes a little money. So one of my last clients, she passed, I guess she was in her mid-70s, and when we talked about the bucket list and things that she never did in her life and always wanted to do, guess what was right up there? Um, she never got a chance to see a Rolling Stones concert.
Mhm.
And this was important for her. And how do I make this happen? Well, I don't have a direct connection to Mick Jagger. I couldn't call him, but I ran to Best Buy and I got the Oculus, which is virtual reality. I paid a lot of money for it at the time, but I'm hearing lately that you can get a lot less expensive versions of it. And you can go onto YouTube, and I went on YouTube and I found a Rolling Stones concert. And this was the week before she passed away.
Wow.
And she had it on and she laid in that bed for the whole 2 hours, the whole concert. And she was singing. And of course, I don't hear music, but she's singing and dancing and in bed, laying on her back. And I just thought it was the most amazing, amazing
What
thing that I could have given her.
what a
It was so
gift.
fulfilling,
Susan, what
right?
an incredible gift that you gave her.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, I had asked her first, and she said, of course, she didn't care, but I snapped a picture of her with the virtual headset on, um, just for me, not to do
Did you share that
anything
with
with
her
that picture.
family? Did you share that with her family?
With her family?
Yeah. The picture showing that she was enjoying it.
We did make picture books,
Okay.
for for 3 different members of her family. So we made that up, and I told them each a story, and as if she was talking. So that was something that she gifted them at the end. I don't know if the virtual reality photo was in that. I don't
Mm,
know.
mm.
But it was just, oh, it was just something that she always wanted, and I got to grant her that wish. And it was amazing. Another day I was with her, and she just said what I would give to just get out. She was in a nursing home. What I would give to get out and go breathe the air and feel the sun on my face. Something so simple.
Yeah.
But I called her daughter to make sure it was okay, and then we put her in a wheelchair,
Yep.
and I walked her out to my car and got her in my car, and I drove over to the North Shore, and
Wow.
it's beautiful. And I found a spot with a view that we could she didn't even have to get out of the car,
Yeah.
but I made sure the sun was shining, and we opened the windows, and she talked about that for days, telling all the nurses that it was the best day of her life.
Wow. Wow.
So that was something so simple and little.
Yeah.
I would have liked to bring a picnic, but she had no appetite.
Sure.
She really
Sure.
wasn't eating much at that point. But it was really fulfilling, for both her and I.
Yeah.
It was a great memory.
Talk about little things. My mother was in the hospital for 7.5 months. I could not get her out of that hospital no matter what I did. And she always
Mm,
said that it was really important to her that her hair was done. And I found somebody who comes in and does hair in people in
mhm,
hospitals. And I got the
yeah.
permission to do that. And that was huge for my mother. It meant a lot to her. She really
Hmm.
enjoyed that. And then since she was in pain and it was a very difficult time, I found somebody who does imagery. And she's an amazing person. I'm still friends with her. And she was able to help her during that time get out of herself and be able to imagine other places and all, and help her with her stress and with her being upset and all. And she came every week and did that. It was just
Yes,
something that,
visualization, just like meditating, but you're visualizing, a place that you'd like to be. And our minds are
yeah.
so powerful that, with the right guidance and direction, I wish I could do this for my clients, but I don't know how good I would be at it,
Yeah.
but there are people who are really, really good at it.
Yeah.
And
She's a
like
psychologist.
you're there.
She's a psychologist. And she goes into hospitals sometimes and helps out like that. And that's an amazing gift
It
that she
is.
has. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what else, Lisa? I
Well,
mean,
I'm sure you have other things too. People don't realize how important it is to see people, maybe people who haven't seen in many years, or maybe cousins and family. And they need to think about that as well. Um, you know,
right, but I don't know, would that be on a bucket list though?
it is,
That's something that you want to do, of course, at the
just,
end of your life.
well, yeah,
But I
because you
think
want to see
a
everybody and
bucket list
celebrate.
is
You
maybe a
might
bucket
want to
list
have
is
a
something you've
party
never
together,
done.
and see each other and celebrate just life and knowing each other. That could be
Right.
on a bucket list.
Sure, sure. Absolutely. And what about even a book? There are books that I have in mind that I've never read, classic books, and it might be hard for a person to read, but there are audiobooks
Yes,
now.
yes,
You can read to them,
yes.
right? You can read the storybook to them.
Right.
So that's really important. Um, and there's many places too that you can find locally. I read somewhere recently that you can actually on Long Island, there's a self-guided tour
Hmm.
of
Well,
churches, and they tell you where they are, and they give you the directions to where they are, and you can go visit different kinds of churches. I mean, churches are beautiful. I like that idea.
uh-huh.
And there's museums. Some people have never been to a museum,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. Or a play,
Um,
theater. I mean,
a play, right?
yeah.
What about a castle? I've always wanted to go and spend the night in a castle. And I know we have a couple here on Long Island. There's a big one upstate I want to get to. But, these are just things that, wow, you never got a chance to do in your life. My aunt always wanted to go. She passed away of cancer. She always wanted to go see you know, the heads in the stone, the presidents. What are
Yeah.
we, Mount Rushmore?
Not
Mount Rushmore.
Rushmore. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Always wanted to do that. So my uncle actually arranged a trip before she passed, and they went and they
Nice.
drove and they, you know, got to visit that.
Nice. We're lucky
And
because
what the person likes.
we're in a really technology age now, and so many things. You see all
Mm,
these online things that you can do, you know?
yeah. Oh, that's
So,
another thing I wanted to mention too. When I did my research for my book, I I scoured the internet, you know, looking for these things. And you can, all you have to do is put in a search bucket list. What
yeah,
can I put on my bucket list?
right.
And there'll be lists of hundreds of ideas,
Yeah,
you know. So some people know, and some people just can't think off the top of their head. So by having some of these lists in front of you, you can read those over, you know, and then the person with you will say, oh, no, I've never wanted to do
hmm
that. Oh, yes, I've always wanted to do that.
hmm
Right.
hmm yeah, yeah. It's really about the communication.
Oh,
You
yeah.
really have to have that relationship with
Yeah.
that person, and the family. Maybe the family. I remember one family that real dear friends of mine, and they all decided to go together to either Curacao or something with the beach, a beach. Um, and that was her last trip altogether, with the
Yeah.
cousins and, all the people who
Right.
they're close to and stuff. And they made the whole arrangements for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, the bottom line is, you know, we come into the world with nothing, we leave the world with nothing. So the most important things, and we come to realize this as we get older in life, is love and your family and connection. And if you can arrange some type of occasion like that, trip like that, or, you know, even if it's just a 2 hour drive, just
Yeah.
to get away. And those are the memorable things. What about something as simple as a sunrise? You know,
Sure.
I've never got to see a sunrise ever, and making it a point of getting up early and going to a beautiful spot and watching the sunrise. I mean,
Yes.
all little simple things, you know. Um, I don't know. I've always, oh, one thing on my bucket list,
hmm
I want to build a dollhouse.
Okay.
Okay. But I always wanted to live in a log cabin.
Oh, I love
So
log cabins.
I want to build a dollhouse with Lincoln logs. And I just don't know how to do that yet.
Well, we
You know,
have
I
Lincoln
look
logs.
sometimes.
We have Lincoln logs here, and we were building a Lincoln log house. I don't remember how many years ago it was, but we do these crazy things.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun doing it. I also found that we had the American bricks that my father and I used to play with, and we were building houses out of the American bricks. Do you remember American
Interesting.
bricks? You're young. You remember them?
I
No.
don't.
Okay. They're
No.
red, and they followed patterns, like house patterns, like you could have a ranch or whatever. And my father and I used to do that together. We always played like that together. Just
That's
great
fun.
memories. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun. And you know, we live on Long Island, so I mean, you can take a tour of Long Island, right? Be a tourist in your own town.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, you got the wineries out there. You got all kinds of winery tours. You can go all the
Hmm.
way out to Montauk and see Montauk Point, the
Some people have
lighthouse.
never even been to a
Ah,
winery,
oh, it's fun.
right?
I won a 7-person or 8-person tour or something in a meeting, in a business meeting. And I hired a limo so we didn't have to worry about it because I had the limo.
Oh,
I was able to
okay.
get
Let
the
me.
limo.
Oh, you're back. You
Sorry.
froze for a second.
Yes, I
Okay,
know.
go
I
ahead.
was able to get the limo to take us out. We had lunch on the way, and then we went out to the vineyard that I had won the prize for. We had a ball. It was just such a
Right.
wonderful girls' day out.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
You know, and doing something, if you do have if you're lucky enough to have a group of friends, I can see women doing this a little bit more than men, but you know, have a sleepover party,
What a
a
great idea.
pajama party. Remember we
Yeah.
used to call it
Yeah.
pajama parties when we were little,
Yeah.
right? And
Oh,
have
yeah.
everybody come in their jammies and do spa things and facials and watch a chick flick and, you know, just to be with the people you love. But
Yeah.
again, there are so many things. Some people want to learn a language and never got a chance to learn a language, so you can do that now online.
Yeah.
You could do that now online if you have a laptop.
Yeah.
So seeing different places, visiting different places, maybe going and listening to some local music at night. These are things that sound like they wouldn't go on a bucket list, that they're everyday things, but for some people that haven't done them
Yes.
before, they're really important. So it's all in the conversation, and sitting with them and feeling them out. Get some ideas if you're the person helping somebody. Get some ideas off the internet, print out a few sheets, and then just have the conversation and the discussion about it. And, some people won't be open to it. Some people will say, I've done everything I want to do. There's nothing else I want to do. Okay. But then you'll have the other person who still has those 10 things that they've never done. And then maybe you can help them work on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story about my 95-year-old that I visit. That's my mom's best
Mm-hmm.
friend, which in New York City. So in 2010, a year after my husband died, they always talked about going back to Vermont. That was their place. And they used to go to this place called the Equinox, a gorgeous place. And I have friends up in Vermont. And I said to them, because their family wasn't doing it, I said to them, would you like to go on a trip with me, a weekend trip? And I'll take you to Vermont. You stay at the Equinox, I'll stay with my friends, and we'll have a great time together. And I'll tell you some, to this day, she still talks about that trip. I made one of the Shutterfly books for her so that we would have all the things that we went to see and
Oh,
do.
nice. Yeah.
She pores over that book like it was yesterday.
Wow.
I am so
Wow.
glad we did that because her husband's gone now. And it
Right.
was such a great time, all of the three of us together. And they
Yeah.
were so glad to be back at the Equinox, which they hadn't been in a very long time. And again, they couldn't drive themselves. So somebody had to drive them.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's so
Love it.
funny, right? That was wonderful that you helped orchestrate that. And it's those memories. It's the little things. And if you can arrange something with the family or a couple family members, to create the memory, to create the experience. I finished up a legacy book actually last year with somebody, and that's where we do audio every week. And then I put it together in the story of their life for them to give their family. And the woman had early dementia.
Mm.
Throughout the whole audio, she talked a lot about a place in Cape Cod, that they had a house there.
Mm.
And they went through all the years that the kids were growing up, and it was her favorite place in the world, and she was going to be going there again this summer. Her children were going to get together, and her grandchildren, and they were going in the next couple months. And she just continued to talk about this place a lot. So when I finished the book, I had the opportunity to speak with her daughter, and I mentioned about how much she loves the family trips and going to this place. And the daughter said, oh yeah, that was a house that we had when I was a very little girl.
Mm.
So it wasn't even something that was
Right.
continued
Right.
through the years,
But that's what she remembered.
but that's what she thought of and treasured and remembered,
Yeah.
the time that she got to spend there with her family,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So it's the connections, and yeah, we always have to remember and think of the people that don't have big families,
Yes.
right? They don't have big families, and some people don't even have big circles of friends,
It's true.
right? So even if it's somebody maybe in an assisted living or in a nursing home, and you're a caregiver or a volunteer, or just a daughter or niece or whoever, and it may be nobody else around to partake in one of these experiences, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And if there's 20 things that she can't come up with 20 things, maybe he or she can come up with 2 things or one thing that they've always wanted to do, and you can do a little work to make that happen.
So I was
So
a 4-H leader. and I had 8-year-old girls at the time. And 4-H is a great organization. They do great community work. And I wanted to do work with the kids for older people. So we picked a nursing home in Port Jefferson, and we did an adopt a grandmother. And each of us had a grandparent that we adopted. And so my daughter and I had this woman who was 98 at the time, and she loved to play the piano. And every week we went there once a week, and every week when we came, she'd play the piano for us. And we'd come up with the songs and stories and stuff. She had the best time, the best time. Oh,
Wow.
yeah. And my daughter still talks about it because she remembers.
Right.
And the
Mhm.
family was very grateful, and she felt like,
These are the important things in life, right?
that's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, cherished. Yeah. So, yeah.
And what about somebody, so many people have wanted to write a book or a children's book,
Yeah.
right? And that could be on a bucket list,
Yep.
right? Something you've
Yep.
never done before. And you can actually help with that.
Sure.
It's not as difficult as it sounds,
Yeah, look at both of us. I would never have dreamt that I would write 2 books. And I don't know about you, but books were not something that I had ever thought of. But once
Right.
my husband died, it was something I felt compelled to do. So doing it
Hmm.
before something, yeah, that's a wonderful accomplishment. And you can
Yeah.
self-publish. You don't have to find a publishing company that's going to tell you what to do. Self-publish.
It's
And
as
there's a lot
simple
of
as sitting
information.
down with a notebook tonight and writing your 10 chapters.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I tell people. It's as simple as that. You write your 10 chapters and then you start at chapter 1 and you write all about that topic.
Yeah. I tell people you do a whole outline. You got to outline what it is you want, where you want to go with it and stuff. And so you see your book sort of done. And then, as you said, go back and then start writing and figuring out how to express that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that could be another that could be another video, Lisa.
Yes, it could. Writing your own book.
Yes.
Love that.
So anything else that you could think of regarding bucket lists?
No, I think the most important thing for us is that we really listen to the people who we love and who are around us, that we don't wait until the end, because you don't have to wait until the end, that we do the things that are important and special, and that we help people realize all that they want to do, no matter
Yeah,
where they are.
very important. It could be a fun project. This can
Yes, it would.
definitely be a fun
It would.
project.
It
But
would.
again, do some research, pull out some information from the internet and get going. And it's all in a conversation.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
all in a conversation, and make sure you're not suggesting things that you'd like to do on your
Yes.
bucket list.
Yes.
You could talk about that, but remember it's all about them and the
Absolutely.
things that they didn't get a chance to fulfill, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. And you do that
Wonderful.
through your books. Talk about your
Hmm.
books for a minute because you've done some great books.
Yeah, coming full circle. 100 tools, tips, and ideas to bring into your life at the end of life. And remember me, the story of my life is filled with prompts and lines, blank pages that help you. It takes you back to a certain point in your life and triggers a memory. And it gets your juices flowing and helps you remember. And even people well into their 90s, believe it or not, can remember when you give them
Oh, yeah.
a trigger like that.
Yes.
Call
Yes.
it a trigger, a thought, an
Yeah.
idea.
Yes.
So you can find those both on my website, eastenddoulacare.com. And Lisa and I've created some online digital courses, and you can find those at eastend.academy to learn a little bit more about end of life. You see all the videos here on our YouTube channel. We do that just to offer value and education for those who
Yes.
need it most.
And you also have a new
Right?
project. Why don't you mention the new project that you have?
Oh, the healing garden.
Yes.
And you can see that on the website, eastenddoulacare.com as well. So they're bowls. I have 4 themes. One is for people with cancer. Another one is pet loss. One is spirituality, and one is grieving, when you're grieving a loss. And they're different color bowls, but they're filled with stones that I've engraved and laminated. And it's a healing tool. That's what it is. So there's little directions on it on how to do a self meditation twice a day for 5 minutes. Doesn't take a lot of time. but it's a healing tool. So you can check that out on eastenddoulacare.com.
Nice.
And your books, Lisa?
Yeah, so 2 books in support of research and eventual cure for pancreatic cancer, both on Amazon, but also on my website, www.familiesmoveon. I'll have to put that up there too. And of course, you can always email me. The proceeds go to the Les Carton Foundation, which is the largest not-for-profit organization for pancreatic cancer research. And I'm really proud of that. And then, of course, we both do one-to-one counseling, and I would love to do more bereavement groups because I think, and I read a lot of group texts, and I feel like people are trying to help each other, but some of them just don't have any resources. They understand what people might be going through, but we do have more resources than that, and we're able to direct people, both of us. For me,
Right.
I feel like it's celebrating the person who's gone, but moving on with your life. That's the best, by the way, celebration of somebody's life, because I always tell people that they would have wished us to be happy, and we in turn would have wished the same for them. So, and in between our
Right.
tears, we know that for a fact in our hearts. So, because
Of
they're always
course.
with us, love never dies. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for
Ah,
today, Lisa.
thank you, Susan. Yep.
Very interesting, a little lighter topic, right, than we usually do, but
Yes.
one that's very worthwhile.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
All right.
So,
And
have a good day. Always good to see you.
see
And
you
same
next
time
week.
next week.
Okay.
Take care. Bye.